something is said with which you disagree, please let us know by writing to us at comments@KS.
You are listening to the Nighthawk on KSCO Santa Cruz. The earth has shifted and raised the gifted. We are your hosts, Ginni and Kelly. Sit back, relax, and don't touch that dial.
Welcome to the Nighthawk. This is Ginni and Kelly.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the Nighthawk.
How are you, Kelly?
I'm good. How are you, Ginni?
I'm fantastic.
Feels good to be back.
Oh, yes.
Tuesday,
Yes, Tuesday was amazing.
beginning of the week.
Yes.
We have a wonderful show for this evening. I think everybody's going to be very excited.
Let us find out what you have in store for us, Mrs. Kelly.
So we have the infamous, the famous Diane Kazer. She is on the line. She is on hold. And we have a load of questions prepared for her. We will take calls from the audience, but we want you guys to hold on for a minute so we can get her introduced and get you guys.
Let's get her on the radio. Let's pot her up.
All right, let's do it.
Diane,
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
welcome to the Nighthawk. I'm Ginni.
And I'm Kelly Powers. Thank you for coming. We're so excited and honored to have you on. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited that you're having me and honored to be here, too, in my own home state of California.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're a California girl. So, Diane, I have a whole introduction prepared for you. Do you want to introduce yourself to the audience and tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a doctor of traditional naturopathy, which essentially says we're the ones who are holding the oath of first do no harm, and very proud to do so. At least we've been trained to start with natural medicine, and what that means is pre-1930, which was when Rockefeller took over with a lot of toxic medications and started kicking out doctors like myself who have been for a long time about root cause resolve, asking the question, what causes disease,
Right.
instead of what kind of prescriptions can we prescribe to people to numb out the symptoms of disease. And we're more interested in helping you get rid of the root causes so that your body can flourish. So that's it in a nutshell. We have a lot to talk about tonight and how people can understand that much even more.
We do. I think the hour and 50 minutes that we have, minus a few commercials, we're barely even going to be able to scratch the surface. So I'm like I said, we're honored to have you on. And I know you've had a very busy day today. So thank you for making time for us. Just to start, where can people find you? Let's get a little plug in first for our Bay Area so they can reach out and get some help from a person that's actually wanting to heal everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like to say I help you guys heal yourselves.
Yes.
The power is already in you. And so I just simply help you to navigate your environment so that we can get rid of the things that are standing in your way of healing, because God made you to heal. God gave you everything you need. And so that's how I like to say it.
And you just lead the way.
Yeah. It really can be simple, but people have been completely disempowered and dissuaded from their own innate healing capabilities. So you can go to my website. That's how you could find me and all the different projects and movies and books that I've written, as well as the courses that I've been writing for over 10 years, which is DianeKazer.com. You might find me on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, but I'm censored a lot on there because usually that's what they do with people who have big voices and big hearts and actually messages that really help people take their power back. So that's a good start in how to follow me. And I've got podcasts on my website. Got a little section for in the media for shows like this where there's replays of other people who have interviewed me, which is, I think, how you guys heard of me. So I'm just here to help, and you can find me easily all over the website.
Well, I am a huge fan. I've I was first introduced to you by the War Room and Owen Schroyer, and I was just blown away by all of the wealth of knowledge that you just spit in such a short time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we found it, And so, yes, people go to Diane Kazer, DianeKazer.com, and you can too, hopefully get to a better, healthy living. So, let's start out. Tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from? Originally.
Actually, I'm not far from you guys. I was born and raised in Sacramento, California, and I really miss the seasons. I was living in Sacramento until I played D1 soccer in Stockton, and then I got recruited to play professional soccer in Germany in the Bundesliga.
Wow.
And
awesome.
I played in America too. I played in Elk Grove and Sacramento with, you guys may have heard of Megan Rapinoe,
Yes.
which is a World Cup team. I don't like how she kneels and does all that stuff, but it was great to, I don't agree with that, but it was still great to play at a high level.
She's a great soccer player, but yes, we're not excited about the spitting on the flag thing.
No.
Yeah, anyway. I know. Same thing. And I'm like, she was never that way when I played with her, and I played with her for 6 years.
Yeah.
I personally believe she was bought by people like Soros.
Sure.
So that's a whole other story, but I'm a big believer in truth. Yeah. Yay!
We can get into all that.
This
This is the Nighthawk, and we stand against the World Economic Forum and them trying to murder us on a daily basis.
And censor us.
We're
not about that.
I love it, you guys. I was so surprised to hear that I was going to be on a radio show that actually is able to speak as much truth as you two are. So bravo.
Well,
yes.
at KSCO, our owner and guru over here at KSCO, his big thing is free speech. And he wants people to be able to have an open dialect and to have this little gem here in sometimes call me Santa Cruz. We value that. And whether you agree with us or you have a different opinion, that's okay. That's okay.
We want people to have their own opinions, and we want people to be heard.
Yes.
So
tell us a little bit more about, we're going to move obviously past this quickly, but were your parents in the medical field? Is that something that was in your family?
No, interestingly, my mother worked for Arnold Schwarzenegger, and she ran the California state budget. So she was a boss.
Nice.
She was a boss.
Yeah.
And
I loved when he was our governor.
Me too.
Yeah, it's so funny. If you look at all the politicians, you will actually find that if you go to IMDb, which is the movie database for Hollywood actors,
Yes,
there's an IMDb channel and profile for every politician, and I did not know that until recently.
I didn't know they were all actors. I mean, I knew that, but I didn't know they actually admitted that they were all actors. So.
Right? Just kind of makes you go, huh.
Yeah.
So he was an actor before governor. But anyway, my mother, she rocked it. But she also got to see
behind the scenes.
Exactly. So I was a financial planner for basically my 20s. And so I was their financial planner, and I was a lot of, their state worker, and I got to see a lot of people's spending, their wealth, their budget. And so at a young age, I looked at how people live their lives and watched how they valued the energy of wealth.
Right.
And I didn't have a whole lot of doctors in my history. I had a lot of nurses. My grandma was the first nurse anesthetist in America.
Wow.
And before that, her parents were doctors, and we have a lot of doctors in our family. So science doesn't come naturally to me, but helping people with their health and their wealth does. And truth, that comes naturally. So my dad worked for the state. He was an electrician and an amazing human being.
Sparky. I come from a family of Sparkies.
You do too?
Yes.
IBEW?
Yes.
Yep,
Local 11.
same.
My brother's actually a lineman. My grandfather was a civil servant for the city of Los Angeles, so as an electrician.
Wow.
So my
Yep.
grandfather
Can you
was
imagine?
in World War II stringing communication lines and got shot in the neck by a sniper and was paralyzed from the neck down for 2 years. He was in the hospital, in a VA hospital. This happened in Nagasaki. And
No, it was Korea, wasn't it?
no, he was in World War II.
Sorry,
and,
I don't know anything.
He
I'm not
ended
jumping in.
up. What he said every single day that he was going to get up and walk. And my grandfather ended up living to be 90 years old. Died on his 90th birthday, but he swam, ran, and worked after he came back from World War II. And they said that he would never walk again or ever feel from his neck down.
Oh my gosh, I can go so many different directions with that, but I will go in a couple. I'll plant a seed that we are going to talk about what it might be like to be an electrician, aka a Sparky, now in all this crazy 5G electrosmog.
Yeah.
It's insane. And then the second thing I want to say is I hate it when I hear anybody who is told by their doctor that they have X number of years to live, or, you know, you will never be able to walk again. What I hate is that doctors play God and think that they could tell you what you should be disabled by, and people listen.
Right.
I love it when people like your grandfather, you said, right?
Yes.
Takes it and turns it on its head and says, nope, I'm not going to listen to that. I'm going to walk. I'll have a great life, despite what you say.
Yes.
Well, the mind is so powerful.
They,
you know?
Yep, 60% is placebo.
He ended up having mesothelioma that he got from working at Kazer steel mills, running electrical conduit on top of all of the beams that were sprayed. And they told him, you have 6 months to live, and he ended up living for 9 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Powerful
Take
man.
a lesson from his grandfather.
Yes.
That right there is the power of the biology of belief, and also having a different fork in the road. When a doctor tells you something, this will be your fate. And you go, do I really want to accept that and die in 6 months, or be disabled in 6 months, or whatever? Or am I going to change my life for the better? We all have that opportunity every single day. And that's where we're at in humanity right now.
Right.
And this happened to you, correct? Am I correct? You have a history where you were dealing with health ailments, and so can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh God, so many times. In fact, I think it's what has made me so convictive about health and taking the power back, because when I was about 18 years old, I was that was when I was first going into chiropractor, as my back was essentially starting to show signs of wear and tear from all the years of soccer. And I started to learn about chiropractic, and thank God I started learning about that at an early age. And then soon thereafter, I started taking Accutane, and that destroyed me. I was insecure in college because I had acne.
Well, of course.
And and I was like, I look like a Domino pizza delivery box. And so I said, nothing else is working. I've tried all the other creams and potions that the doctors gave me. So they said, well, we recommend Accutane. And I said, what's that? And they said, this is the best thing that's known to get rid of cystic acne. And I said, okay. Did I do research? No, I didn't.
I don't think there was much research out on that at that time when you took it, because I was with someone that did the same thing. They never had acne as a kid, and they ended up getting it when they were an adult, and it really devastated the person. And they went on Accutane, and that was probably the worst thing that the doctors could have done for them.
So
correct?
what is Accutane?
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's chemo that they give to pancreatic cancer patients that just so happened to be something that they discovered by accident, just like many other drugs that they don't use for the primary effect that they're originally approved for.
Right.
And then it's used what's called off-label. And when they're using things off-label, it's generally if something ever happens to you and there's some sort of side effect, which every drug comes up with, and including death, they're not going to cover it.
Well, wait a minute. I thought they outlawed off-label use of medication during COVID. I'm kidding.
That's exactly.
I'm kidding. Sorry. Keep moving.
Okay. Throw some humor in there.
Ha ha ha!
Yeah.
I wish.
Hilarious.
But no, actually, they're doing so many ridiculous things right now. It's like my greatest wish for humans and humanity, especially in America, is to see just how big of a show that the pharmaceutical industry is, that they've programmed us, that they have created the fear around a fake problem and then sold us a solution. In fact, Pfizer just bought a huge cancer solution company for $6.5 billion.
No.
So they created, yep, they just did. And so they sold a fake lie that there's this boogeyman virus that doesn't exist, that never has ever been isolated. No virus has. And they said, yep, there's this virus. Everybody's dying from it, which we could talk about today.
Yeah.
And then they created the solution, sold that. That was already in the making before they even, sold the lie.
Well,
and then now they're even
many years. The creation of the current vaccine goes back like years and years and years. So
yep,
go on.
Yep. And now, don't worry, we've created the 100,000+% spike in cancer rates, including turbo cancers that are on the rise. And they now have the solution in a cancer treatment box, so they can make money on that side too. So they have hypnotized you all, including myself, you guys. I have learned, and I have a badge to show for it, that I've taken a lot of Western medicine poisons and have gotten severely damaged by them.
Sure.
And wrote a book and made a movie, and here I am to warn you all. And what you do with it is your choice, but do your research for sure.
So what's your book?
Oh yeah, so my book is called Killer Breasts, and that's a book about, really the first half of it is about breast implants and how they destroy women. I don't care who you are. In some way, it is harming you. It is disarming your immune system.
Right.
And I know it's hard to hear that stuff. But the first thing I even said was, oh, my breast implants are fine. There's nothing wrong with them. I can feel them and they feel fine. And it's not about that. It's about they are an autoimmune disease causing, there's 2 of them, and they are filled with 30+ toxins. And no breast implant manufacturer has ever, just like the vaccine, has ever been tested for safety. And in fact, every breast implant manufacturer is in violation of their pre-market approvals. So there's been no safety studies to show, especially in the long term, that they're safe for women. And here we are, millions of women have explanted. And the second half of the book talks about how to be a woman and the world without feeling like we need to artificially build our beauty with things like Botox and all kinds of artificial ingredients and toxic beauty products as well. It's a crazy industry.
It is. And it's just this rabbit hole that when you start just scratching the surface, I mean, it's so deep. Like you can go so many different directions, from pharmaceuticals to plastic surgery, and it just goes so deep. So let me just ask you kind of a general question. And why are Americans so unhealthy? I mean, we have to be one of the most unhealthy group of people on the planet. Am I right?
You are right, unfortunately.
And I know that's huge.
Which is insane. Yeah, it's insane. So to kind of piggyback and wrap up the bow on the last comment that you made there about, plastic surgery, a lot of people will be like, and I listen to the minds of humans, right? Like I want to get into your mind and I want to help you deprogram and defrag how you got here. Right. And one way we got here is we are taught to literally self-gaslight. Oh, it's not a big deal. Everybody has these symptoms. I'll just take an ibuprofen. Well, that just simply numbs out your body's check engine light. You know, inflammation is not a bad thing. It's your body trying to heal itself, but we are also taught to get rid of inflammation. It's like, wait a minute, you're also disarming the firefighters that are trying to put the fire out, right?
Right.
So backing up to why we even get inflammation, which is the root cause of all disease, you know, you could watch a documentary. I have it on my media channels. Like, I have a BitChute channel, I have a Rumble channel, and it's full of free stuff. Like, I've got probably 15 free documentaries on my BitChute channel alone, and one of them is called The Bleeding Edge. Have you guys heard of that?
No, but I want to watch it because I watched all your YouTube stuff today. You do still have some stuff on YouTube, by the way.
I watched it too. I learned a lot about everything about what you were talking about and all the symptoms and the different things, and I'm like, oh my god!
But I will be on
You've been
BitChute
through a lot
tonight watching The Bleeding Edge. So tell us about it. What
Good,
is it?
you guys. Yeah, my YouTube channel has been probably had not been posted on for 4 years or so because I've been so censored. So Rumble and BitChute is loaded with the real stuff where I'm not getting censored. So
nice.
The Bleeding Edge. So you might be out there thinking, well, I'm a man, I don't have breast implants, or you might be a woman who I'll never get breast implants. I dodged that bullet. Which great, okay, awesome. But you know they're going to brainwash you and say, oh, you know, you've got breast cancer and you should get breast implants, which is really, now you're going to replace that with another cancer issue or more problems. So the Bleeding Edge talks about, beyond just breast implants, how things like mesh is polypropylene, and basically it's plastic. It's made of petroleum, and they're putting a lot of that in people's bodies. And if you look at the new neural network of 5G and how they're merging humans with robots with the transhumanistic movement, it's, you look at these new routers and Wi-Fi technology, it's all made of mesh. Is it weird that they're using mesh and Wi-Fi technology as well as humans?
Yeah, it's a little interesting.
Just a question, you
It's
know?
like the web.
The World Economic Forum, I mean, they say they want to get under your skin. So
good point.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the wearable thing, the wearable conversation, they want to get under your skin and over your skin, so that you are crawling in your skin and you no longer even feel like you are you're a prisoner in your own skin. It's like the movie The Matrix. That's their objective. They are literally looshing energy off of us, and it's your cells can't make energy anymore. It's kind of like, you know, my partner and I, Dr. Jack, he is a muscle tester. He's a doctor just like me, and we both treat and work with patients in group settings and individual settings, and he treats people, and he finds that one of the main reasons people are sick right now is that a big problem is that their cells can't even make energy for them anymore. So imagine that you're a iPhone and you're walking around all day at 10% charge. You think you're going to make it through the day when you wake up in the morning and your cell phone is at 10% and you don't have a battery?
No.
It's not going to work, right?
You're right.
So exactly. And coffee is only going to last so long until it depletes you of hydration and important minerals like magnesium, and then you get constipated, then you get literally backed up full of poop, and then the parasites come around to decompose your poop that you can't clear.
Right.
So it's a whole cycle, and he's been testing people, and what we find in our practice, especially since COVID, it's been on the decline, but he's finding that the ideal number would be 600 to 800, a number out of 1,000 for how powerful the body is at making its own energy from cells called mitochondria. Science experiment, everybody okay?
Right.
And he sees that the average person now is under 100.
Wow.
Under 100. Most people are overweight. Current patient he saw today is on 20 medications.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how people are living at that point, but we are at a tipping point. So the bodies are full of poisons, full of parasites, full of programming, and full of a lot of issues in their tissues where we can't even make our own energy. And we need to understand that if we're not connected to nature, we're done. That's
Right.
the bottom line.
Well, that was something that I saw that you were talking about, how a lot of the different bugs in the world have been killed off, and that by 2026, is that what you were talking? Was that the bugs will be all gone?
Yeah, there's some estimates. I know one of the questions you guys wanted me to cover today was around geoengineering and climate change and this whole lie, this
Right.
whole hoax.
Yeah.
Elon's moving from California now, our home state, over to Texas because our psychopath governor. Sorry if I'm allowed to say that.
You are allowed to.
You can say what you want. Anything you want to say, you can say.
Yes.
We don't
good.
stifle
You're
anybody
good.
here.
We're right there with you.
Okay. Like, let's do EV cars by 2030. You can't even have any other car. Well, basically, he wants to put you guys all in a microwave so that you're getting electrocuted, just like your grandfather was, to the point where you can no longer even make your own energy. And the more wearables that you guys are wearing, I got a little sidetracked on that, but anything where you are merging your body with technology, it is draining you of your own energy. And there is now a website that you can even look up, and you can see that they are utilizing your mitochondria, your energy, your powerful resources, your God-given energy to fuel and fund cryptocurrency in the metaverse.
Yes.
So it's insane. It's literal insanity, but it's movies that are happening right before our eyes.
That's
so
like a Black Mirror episode, I'm pretty sure.
You got it. Probably, right? I haven't watched that show, but I remember seeing it in the background one day. Somebody I knew was watching it, and I was like, oh, that is dark energy over there. I don't even want to watch it.
Yeah.
That's a little interesting.
So let's get into EMF
because that's a huge thing in the EMF field that you travel around in your car, and that's one of the things. I can afford to buy electric vehicles, but I would never buy it because every time I go to test drive one, I ask the salespeople, so can you tell me the EMF field that we're in right now? And they're all, what is that? And I said,
really?
Well, we're in a car, and this car is powered by electricity, and this is like a giant cell phone that you're capsulated in. It would be, and there's a lot of EMF coming off of here, and what is it doing to us? And, I don't know. I'm going to have to find out about that because I just want to test them just to see how it drives and what it does, right? I'm interested in that. I like cars.
But everything now is wireless.
Yes.
So, we're talking EMF, earbuds, for example. We have 5-year-olds
about that.
walking around with earbuds. Like, what's an earbud doing to your brain?
Can you tell us about that? Because because I heard what you said.
Yeah. The whole, this is where it gets really tricky with, like you said, kids and teenagers and parents who are not really paying attention. And, Gavin Newsom's happy to be the parent for your children. If you're not paying attention, parents, this is a serious issue. And in fact, this is the reason I left California, because I said, if the moment they start mandating vaccines in schools and allowing children to go get their own HPV shots and their parents to not be present while the MDs allowed the children who were under 18 to make their own choices around this stuff, I'm done. I can see where the state's headed. So the moment that happened, I was like, all right, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So, and what that means is that, they're coming for your children. They don't care about you. They don't respect the mother, father, child connection, and they're dividing everything. So that's why I left California.
Broke by Rockefeller many, many years ago with the feminist movement. They laugh because basically, let's double tax and we can indoctrinate children all day. So,
yeah, it's sad. If I were a parent right now, my kids would be far away from public school, and they would be in some private schools and maybe Christian schools and schools where I really felt like I knew the people who were leading it and the curriculum. So going back to the AirPods thing and a lot of technology in schools or just in general, even for adults, the big issues that we're having is that with AirPods especially, and things that are emitting EMF frequencies into your brain. There's been, on in your ear. Extensive studies have actually explored many possible health effects of exposure to EMFs and radiation on people of all ages. And what they found that the main health risks that prolonged and regular exposure to radiation may pose is things like tumors, brain cell damage, abnormal cell functioning, damage to the DNA of body cells, ADHD and ADD, focus issues, increased growth of leukemia cells. Of course, no-brainer, pun intended, because no brain, you don't have your brain anymore.
You
No
will
brainer.
have no brain.
Exactly. Severe headaches and migraines, dementia, tinnitus. Tinnitus is huge. I
Yeah.
have had, since probably about the last 7 years, I've had mostly all patients report ringing in the ears, and they're like, it's really annoying. And I tell them to pay attention to if the frequency occurs when they're either close to the Wi-Fi box, or if they're on the phone a lot, or if they have earbuds in, and or if they're wearing wearables like Apple Watches, or Fitbits. And I've seen patients who have burn marks on their skin where their wearables were.
Wow.
You guys, this is where you can guarantee that you're going to have major mitochondria deficiencies, which means low energy, which means poor immune function, which means you're going to get sick. It's going to be harder for you to lose weight, harder for you to sleep good, and 96% of fat burning happens when you're sleeping. And we are overweight and obese as a nation. So, I mean, there's so much more to it than this, but there's been no studies on this stuff.
There's a lot of stuff to unravel in there, and we'd love to have you back and talk more about that. Would you talk to us a little bit about detoxing and gut health? Because that's like really important, and all of the detoxes that you talked about are really important, because you talked about from the lower region up, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mean as far as like the order of detox?
Yes.
Yeah. Cleansing in the right order. And I thought I remember you saying you want to start from the bottom up.
Yeah, I like that one Drake song, Started from the Bottom, Now We're Here. I don't think that's the kind of music you guys would play.
I like that.
Oh, Drake is such low vibrational music. I don't recommend it, but it's just a funny pun.
Yes.
So
We'll take it.
You know, a good place to start, you guys, you can start my detox for free, at least the first module, which is dianekazer.com/free detox.
Okay.
And it's awesome. You know, I give you a huge feel for how we got here, why detox is important, and why colon cleansing is your first step.
Okay.
So the reason why we start from the bottom is because if you think about gravity is the way we're described, that gravity is, if it even exists the way it is, who knows? If things move, what comes up must come down, and toxins drain out. So think about your body like the garbage disposal on a sink, right? It's at the bottom of the sink.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Stuff drains from the top of the sink down, and then it leaves through the tubing, which is like your intestines.
Right.
And it leaves out of the body, and it has its proper drainage. If your garbage disposal is broken and you've got junk and water in the sink, what happens?
Gets yucky.
Clogs up.
Yeah. Clogs up. And then where does all the waste go?
It clogs everything in your body that it can, right?
Yep. And maybe, you know, if the water gets higher and higher because it stops clogging altogether, then it spills over in other areas and it floods.
Right.
And this is what happens if you can't get rid of poisons. Then a lot of these toxins end up in your fat cells. They end up in your brain at the last resort. Your body's trying to protect it from getting up there, but by the time it gets to the brain, we know that your gut has been overflowing for a long time.
Right.
So we want to open up the colon first so that when you start detoxing, the toxins, the parasites, the mold, the heavy metals, the environmental toxins, the candida, the fungus, all has a place to leave. Because the number one issue that I see people do, they hear, oh, detox, and they start taking all these products to detox, but then they've got a blocked colon.
Right.
And what does that mean? A blocked colon isn't just, oh, I don't poop every day.
Right.
Because I have a lot of patients, and today we were joking around about the call on our call with many people. They're like, oh, I poop fine. My colon's fine. And then another patient of mine chimes in and says to the other patient, well, do you want to see the 4-foot-long parasite that just came out of me the other day?
Yeah. Oh.
I know. And the whole group goes, yes, show us the picture. Because then I say, this is why we do what we do. She was a probably 150-pound fit yoga teacher. She doesn't have weight to lose, but she is super sick and she can only eat 5 foods. And she's, air quotes, doing all the right things.
Right.
And she's like, what's going on? But I've worked with very expensive naturopaths, very expensive homeopaths. I've spent over $95,000 on my health journey But until she got to me and the work that we do in our online health ministry, she wasn't taught to do it in the right order. She wasn't taught about drainage. She wasn't taught that there could be 30-foot-long parasites that live up to 30 years in your intestines that eat your nutrients and leave you nutrient poor, that even if you take supplements, it could be feeding them.
So
Right.
this is where the parasites obviously come in, because you're blocked.
Yep.
They can't come out, so your body will naturally. Do they get created? Like, what is a parasite and where do they come from?
That's a good question. And this is where people go, oh, well, I don't travel to other countries, so I'm good. And that's that self-gaslighting I was talking about, you guys.
Right.
And it's not intentional. It's just that we have been misled and totally misguided. And if you go to your Western medicine doctor right now and you ask them to treat you for parasites or test you for parasites, they're going to look at you like you are a parasite. So
You're crazy. Like something's wrong with you because you're asking odd questions.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they'll gaslight you and be like, that's not important. Parasites are not a big deal. Everybody has them. And then you'll leave feeling like, okay, well, I guess I'm fine. Parasites, what we say is if you have a pulse, you have a parasite. So it's not just a third world country. Go to Mexico. I drank the water. I got sick. Came home. Got diarrhea. Life was miserable. I take an antibiotic. Everything's fine. That's not how it works.
Right.
Sometimes, right? But we mostly are exposed to them. I'll give you a couple new things. I'll give you a couple of the conventional pre-COVID things.
Okay.
So we are mostly exposed to them in our produce. So if you're not washing your produce, if you're not soaking it in distilled water and using things like grapefruit seed extract or grapefruit oil, like I love essential oils to just soak them in. And distilled water is the best way to clear all contaminants from vegetables, as well as the best water to drink and add minerals back to. Okay. I tell everybody, all my patients, the best and only water filtration system that you can get that will clear all toxins, including radioactive elements like the ones that are sprayed in our chemtrails that are also, you can't get organic in America anymore. It's gone. It doesn't even exist because they're spraying geoengineering toxins in the sky that land on the skin of our organic produce, which includes radioactive elements like barium, strontium, radium, a lot of things that are making us very, very sick and can mimic Lyme. And people think they're sick with osteoporosis. And it's really just that they're full of radioactive elements. And distilled water is the only water filter that will get rid of them.
Okay.
So I tell patients, get a water distiller. There's one on my website, DianeKazer.com. Just click on my Shop Dyes Faves. You can get one for less than $1,000. It'll last you forever. You don't have to buy filters, and it's awesome. Then you just add minerals to it, and you soak your vegetables in it. So that's one really common way people are exposed to parasites. We get it from also pets. If we allow our pets to lick our whole bodies, I tell patients, please don't French kiss your pets. You know.
I know. I see people do it, and it's so gross. So
I know.
gross.
And I know it's cute. You think you're exchanging love, but do it another way. Your dogs can get
Can you kiss your dog on the head? Is it okay to kiss them on the head?
Yeah.
Because I love my animals. I don't kiss them in the mouth, but I love my animals.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say, if your dog's rolling around chicken poop all day.
No.
Maybe not a good idea.
What about when they're a puppy?
We have two princess pugs that get walked, that's it.
God, I love pugs.
I know. We have a little puppy, and
we'll have to send you some pictures.
I'll send you some pictures. She's amazing.
Please. They make me laugh. They're just little alien creatures. They're like,
funny.
They are the clown dogs. That is for
they're
sure.
pretty amazing.
And they're silly and funny.
I love how they breathe.
Yes. Yes. They make their own noises. They are the characters in every George Lucas film for sure.
They hum.
Oh.
It's interesting that our dog Ruby, she hums. It's pretty cool.
She hums. That's true. So
What?
okay.
Yeah, she hums.
She has her own noises that she makes, and so we have a black pug Ruby, and then we have a fawn Isabel, and the Isabel's the new one.
So
anyway,
but when they're puppies, they could have more. Depending, like here's the other thing that's ironic, right? Is the more vaccinated, the more the parasites.
Yes.
Why? Because there are parasites in virtually all vaccines, and they're bioengineered that way. And so that is the number one way people are currently getting parasites that I this is the number one reason I'm in the fight right now, because I hate that my people have been lied to.
Yeah.
And what we've been finding under the microscope from a lot of the work of dark field microscopists like David Nixon and Anna McCalchai and many others like La Quinta Columna Research Academy, they don't want us to know this stuff. And this is why dark field microscopy has been outlawed in many states, because we could see the microscopy of what's in these shots, which is these parasites that have been engineered to live up to 30 years in the body. And that's why we're starting to see people die suddenly and get turbo cancers, is because now they're starting to hatch, grow into large larvae and adults, and the EMF frequencies are allowing them to release the payload from the vaccine containments, and a lot of it contains these parasites.
Right.
So that's the number one way right now.
So do you think this is all on purpose?
Absolutely.
So they're just trying to kill us all.
You know, it's kill and or also harvest and loosh our energy.
Okay.
So,
Right.
you know, it's multi, because if you know, going back to Dr. Jack, my partner's patient today, she's on 20 medications.
Yeah.
Do they want her to die?
No.
No.
They just want to lose your energy, and that's one of the things that happens in life. So, do you find that the stuff under the scope is nanotechnology? Is that what some of the parasites are actually nanos that are like computer driven then, correct?
Yes. There's the main parasite that was discovered under the microscope is called Trypanosoma cruzi. This one is called the sleeping sickness. It's another name for it, and otherwise known as Chaga disease. And so it makes people very tired.
Yeah.
So when you hear people refer to long COVID, you guys have heard that before?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I have it.
No, you had it.
So
No, I am going to have an appointment with Diane very soon. I'm telling you. I've already done her, her little questionnaire. Like, I've done it all. I'm, ready to go. So, anyway, sorry. Move on.
There's a reason we met over all of these topics.
It's actually debilitating. Like, I had COVID 3 times because I absolutely refused to get the jab. Like, I was not doing it because there was just I don't get flu. I never have. Anyways, so
good.
I had COVID 3 times, or whatever it was, and
we're going to also talk about that too.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So go on. Sorry.
Yeah. So the question is when we say I got COVID, what does that even mean, right? It's simply a constellation of symptoms that mimics the flu, and RIP the flu, because the flu died a couple of years ago.
Yeah, there was no flu cases, right?
Yeah, it went extinct. We're like, wait a second, that's like exactly the same figures of COVID cases.
Yeah, right.
Weird.
So, but what it means, you guys, is there is no such thing as a cold or a flu. I want you all to also understand this. There's only one disease, and it's a disease of toxicity. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
Yes, that was
and then our body. Yeah, go ahead.
That was something that you talked about greatly in the video I saw, that you were talking about. No one's sick. This has to do with this. And a lot of stuff they talked about is this a EMF, COVID is an EMF case of functioning in your cells that are causing your cells to do this?
Mm-hmm. Yep. My multifactorial research, and I'm not saying this to brag, I have over 10 certifications in health and wellness, and what I do is I'm kind of like a David Icke dot connector. I connect a lot of dots and go, it's never just one thing that's making you sick. You heard me just say it comes down to toxins, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I say that it's toxins that are the deepest root. And then from that, you will have an adaptive response where your body then will recruit bugs in order to mop up this mess that you can't excrete because your drainage pathways are stagnant. Most people are not sweating every day. They're not exercising anymore. They're not, 70% of our detox happens through our breath, and most people are not breathing properly.
Right.
They're mouth breathers at night. They're snoring. Then they say they have sleep apnea and they have to get a machine. No, all of this is your body's full of toxic waste. And the flus and colds that you experience and say you, air quotes, got sick, there's no such thing. You may have been exposed to a parasite and it made you sick, but your immune system is supposed to be able to handle that. But it's so distracted and disabled because it's toxic. And your immune system can't handle the amount of waste in the body, so then your body tries to clear the poisons, and it looks like a flu.
Right.
So it's
And
just
that's it. Your body heats up.
reaction.
Yes, it's an adaptive response, your body trying to save its own life. It's kind of like how, the body, like a car when you're driving it. This happened to me a couple months ago. My coolant engine light came on, and I went and put coolant in it, and then my car overheated and it turned off to protect itself.
Right.
The body's doing the same exact thing. So it's not to feel like your body hates you or you're miserable when you get sick. Your body's literally trying to save its life because you're not focusing on daily detox, which we can talk about today too. So it's important that you understand that it's poisons. We are all being poisoned greatly from the chemtrails, from the food, from the air that we breathe, the water. It's all contaminated. Go to ewg.org/tapwater, especially in California. Type in your zip code. You're going to see a ton of forever chemicals, the same Teflon nonstick poison that they've been using in nonstick pans and making people super sick. You could watch that documentary on my BitChute channel. It's called The Devil We Know, and you could see all about how Teflon has destroyed our health. And now it's in pretty much every California jurisdiction's water.
Wow.
So if you need to see proof in the pudding, you can see that with your own two eyes how truly poisoned our water supply is. And it's not just your drinking water, it's your bathing water, it's your showering water, it's what you're brushing your teeth with. So water is a huge thing. It's what 70% of our body is made of. So water filtration is huge. And then you add the EMF thing, the more that you have heavy metals and radioactive elements in your body, the more those serve as an antenna to draw in EMF frequencies, and it's this whole full circle thing. So it's important to reduce heavy metal load, get rid of the silver fillings in your mouth, make sure that you are doing a proper detox after that. If you have exposure to any heavy metals at all or you want to get properly tested for that. That's what we do in our practice with the urinary analysis. MDs don't do that. And then we find out what kind of a priority that is, because you do not want to have mercury or aluminum in your body. Those things will make EMFs even more harmful for you. I can go on and on about that stuff. And mercury and aluminum are in all vaccines.
Right.
Well, and it was in people's teeth for forever.
It was in every one of my teeth until 10 years ago. And I did not know that the only way that I should have silver fillings removed is through a biological dentist that practices the safe mercury amalgam removal technique, which is called the SMART protocol,
Right.
because otherwise your body absorbs what they're not excreting properly in that process.
Yeah,
I did not know. Exactly. And I did not know, and I want you all to know, that you need to get these silver fillings out ASAP. You need to get your root canals out ASAP. Half of silver fillings is mercury. The other half is aluminum and tin and all sorts of other toxic metals like nickel. Those things are so close to your brain. I work with patients that have Parkinson's, and I tell them, you're going to have aluminum toxicity. How many silver fillings did you have? And they all have had them. These are not genetic diseases, and they are not rare. That is a lie. You have been poisoned since birth, and even 9 months before that, because the average baby is born with over 300 toxins in their body before their first breath, and that all came from mom.
That's just in the womb, right?
Yep, exactly. It's all transferred. Parasites get transferred to babies too.
And the food that was going in there.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a lot to unpack. I mean, you start thinking about really when you become aware and you wake up, right? And because for so long we just
everybody's asleep.
Well, we ate processed food and everything's packed in plastic, and it just goes. And how many people do you know that are just drink out of the faucet, and they're like, I'm hardcore. This is what I've done since I was a kid. I just drank out of the hose. And that's definitely a Gen X thing, because that's what we did. Our parents kicked us out and said, go drink out of the hose.
Come back when the lights come on.
Yeah, when the street light comes on, then you can come in. So,
Right, come out.
you know, when you're constantly just berated with all this stuff, there has to be only one answer, because you can't cut out everything. Am I correct?
Yeah. You mean cut out everything in terms of toxicity?
Well, I know, you can eliminate what you can by, having glass and no plastic and not eating all this packaged food and drinking distilled water and obviously in your shower, you have your skin that just absorbs everything. So you turn on this hot water and you're in this toxic water.
Steam bath.
Well, right. You're in a steam bath. So obviously you should be filtering your shower. How do you do that?
Yeah, good question. So whole house filters is a good idea if you own your home and you plan on staying put for a while. It's going to be a couple grand, $2,000 or $3,000. I recommend that to everybody.
Okay.
If you don't, or even if you're like, well, that's still a lot, the drinking water is the biggest heavy hitter.
Okay.
The best place to start is distilled water. That's one of those big levers that moves a lot of needles and is has huge health impacts on you. Even one of my patients today, she's like, I didn't make a distiller important for my family and my health until I